Hello and welcome to another short, hopefully, soap making video. My name is Jim Baker, it's the Hertfordshire Soap Company, and today we're going to look at how we cut the soap loaves into individual bars. As you can see here in front of me, I have the soap cutter. This is from a company called Roger Newman and Sons, who make soap cutters of all different sizes. The advantage of having a cutter of this size is that we can deal with loaves of soap of different size. This will cope with an individual bar, but it will also cope with large slabs of soap. And when I say a slab, I mean soap that's been made in a mould like this. It's very similar to my individual loaves. There's a lovely silicone liner here, makes life so much easier getting the soap out. It's a nice robust frame which can be taken apart. This is from a website called The Mould Shop, and they're about the best I've found, I think. And so you can put this entire slab on the table, cut it down into individual loaves. But generally speaking, if I just put that to one side, generally speaking, I make individual loaves using a mould similar to this. If you've seen my soap making video where we talk about combining the ingredients, putting them into the mould and starting the curing process, you'll have seen me fill a mould like this with a soap batter. Now when the soap comes out, it's still very soft. It will sit in here for 24 hours minimum, sometimes more, maybe even 2 days, but certainly no less than 24 hours. When it comes out of here, it has the consistency of a sort of cheddar cheese. It's quite firm. I leave it for a week at least, and it firms up and it seems to cut much nicer. If you cut too early, you squash the soap and you will get a large amount of residue building up on the wire, and rather than cutting it, you're creating squashed and rounded edges, which is no good. So we're also going to then place it in a drying system that I've engineered. It's very homemade. These, as you can see, are shop bought plastic crates. They're great because they collapse down and take up no space, and then when you need them you can build them on top of each other. I use a greaseproof lining here just to stop it sticking to the plastic, and I also build a second tier with a couple of little supports for an additional shelf. That creates a second shelf so that you can maximize your space, because when you're making it for production you end up actually making quite a lot, and you end up with stacks of these crates here. As you can see, they're all full of soaps and they all have shelves in them. And you'll notice on the edge we have these little sticky notes, and this is so that the batch number of each soap that I make follows the soap itself right the way through the entire production method. Now, part of the disadvantage with these crates is that they're plastic, and under the weight of a loaf like that, the plastic can bow a little bit, and the last thing you want is to have curved soap. You want it to keep it nice and flat. So here we have a loaf that we're going to cut today. This is my orange, patchouli and rosemary soap. I've called it Hertfordshire Hero, and you can see it's a swirled colour. If you watch my main production video, you will see me make a lavender and tea tree, and it's swirled in exactly the same way. So the beige colours are the uncoloured, and then the red is mixed in, and as it's poured into the mould it swirls together. And as we cut the soap into individual bars, you'll see how the swirl changes, like a marbling effect almost. Okay, so we'll start there. The little guide here is movable. You can set it up. As you can see, I've got little markers to tell me where my bars are. This is the thickness of my standard bar. And we just simply place it, make sure it's firmly up against the guide, firmly up against this marker, which gives me the exact amount. Now, sometimes you need to encourage it with your thumb just to start it off, and then the wire goes through. And there we have the first bar. See the marbling effect on there? Moving the wire along, we can push the soap up firmly against and then gently, once again, ease it through. Now the longer you leave it, the harder it will be to initially cut through, but what you won't is get any of the smudging. You can see, even though I've left it quite a while, you get a bit of smudging on the end there, but it gives you a nice crisp and even bar. So each bar you cut is exactly the same size each time. So we'll just go ahead and do a few more of these. Now, one interesting thing about handling soap that is less than 6 weeks old, 6 weeks being the prime amount of time that a soap needs to cure. I've seen on some forums and in some videos people saying you must not touch the soap because it still has some of the hydroxide liquid in it. Well, I can assure you, even though this soap, let me check the date, when was this made? The 28th, about 3 weeks ago, I think, just under 3 weeks ago we made this. And I am, obviously, as you can see, no gloves. I'm cutting that, getting the pieces of the soap on my skin. There's a bit of soapy residue on my skin, but absolutely no problem. Soap is made within 24 to 36 hours at most. The rest of the 6 week period is the drying and the curing of the soap. Soap's like a concrete almost. It takes a very long time to cure, and the longer you leave it, the better it behaves in water. It gives you more bubbles, a richer lather, it dries out better between the washes, so that you get a much better quality of soap. So every soap I make is cured for a 6 weeks minimum period. And obviously, when you make large quantities of stock, some of your stock won't get to a shelf or into a customer's hand for sometimes a few months. And I know then that they're getting a really great, stable bar of soap. Now, something that I do is create little test bars. So I just move the guide, move it into this little line here, make sure that's nice and firm, and I sacrifice now 2 full-size bars. We can see it's just about 2 full-size bars, maybe a little bit more. I sacrifice that, turn that round the other way, and cut through, and that gives me these cute little test size bars. And everyone who buys from me on my Etsy web store will know that they get one of these little trial size in their bag. So whether you buy 1 soaps or 3, 4, I'll always try and include a little tester to try and tease you to try a different soap. And it's a great way of showing you the marbling effect there. Now this will continue to cure. The beige colour here will intensify. The definition between those colours will improve as the soap dries out, because at the moment that's still quite soft. I could break that apart no problem. Just like cheddar cheese, it's quite soft. So we line up the soap now in our tray. This is obviously quite a simple job. I'll try and do it quickly so that we can just get to the end of that process for you. And these will sit here for the rest of their curing time until they're ready. They will then get a trim. Each of the edges is trimmed, so this sort of chafing here at the edge, all this is trimmed, so you get a nice smooth edge. That's all taken off. All that is sort of wastage, and it doesn't make the bar look very attractive. So that's those going in. Now I've got 2 more loaves to cut, but as far as that one now, that's complete. I will move its little sticker here to tell me now this is the batch number, this is the date that it becomes ready, and here is the date I made it. So thanks for watching today. I hope you've learned a little bit more about the way I make my soap and see the equipment we use in my dedicated soap making area here. We're going to make a few more videos sort of squirreling down into the detail a bit, show you my insulating box and other things to do with the chemicals, the essential oils. Other little videos will follow. So if you want to subscribe to my channel, make any comments or give me a thumbs up, that would be really great. And thanks very much for watching. Bye now.